What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are talking about the Detroit Lions free agent signing Desmond Trufant. Let's get it started.
I'm still fast. I still can run. I still can do everything, I've been doing since I got in this league, So I'm good. I'm gonna be ready to go.
All right, y'all. Now, this is probably the third time I've recorded this because let's just say last time I thought it was good, right? I was like, okay, yeah, I can rock with that video. But then I watched it back and I was like, oh my gosh, what is my hair doing? So, yeah, you know what? I haven't been able to get a haircut. Just ignore it, okay? Please just ignore it. Just look at... Okay, just listen to what I'm saying. Okay, I think it looks better now. I had like something like going like this, and I was like, oh my gosh, look like a unicorn. So we're talking about Desmond Trufant today, the cornerback from Atlanta. And honestly, this one, I'm not going to make that long. The first time, a couple times I did this, I made a long video. But I think it's pretty simple to sum up this cornerback. So we'll do that. But this is the guy that was drafted back in 2013 out of Washington. He was pick number 22. He signed a 2-year, $21 million deal with the Lions. I believe it was $14 million guaranteed. This offseason, Detroit Lions traded away Darius Slay for a 3rd and a 5th. They also let Rashawn Melvin walk. And they brought in Daryl Roberts, who was a pretty much a rotational cornerback for us. They also brought in Jeffrey Okudah with the number 3 pick in the draft. And obviously Desmond Trufant, who we're talking about today. This is a 6', 190-pound cornerback. And he ran a 4.38 coming out of college. Okay, now that is all aside and we have, the simple stuff about Desmond Trufant, now we can talk about Desmond Trufant's role, how good I think he will be with the Detroit Lions, and about this signing. He is 29 years old, which is the same age as Darius Slay. We moved on from Darius Slay, which at the time I thought, oh, dang, if we could have kept him and Trufant, we wouldn't have to draft Okudah. We could have drafted a mid-round and stuff like that. We still could have done that, but, that would have been the game plan here. But after seeing what Darius Slay was coming out with, it was like, dude, come on, man. This dude clearly didn't want to be here, and we had to make the move to move on. And that relationship was so toxic that it couldn't last. I mean, I liked Slay, but man, that was a mess. You can't win games with a guy like that. So we moved on, and we got Desmond Trufant in right before actually we moved on from Slay, and then we moved Slay. So we brought in Desmond Trufant for, at the time, was kind of like, okay, somewhat of a replacement. Not Slay level, but he's a replacement. Then we brought in Okudah. And now the question is, okay, what's his role, right? Because we have a lot of corners. We got Daryl Roberts, who's actually a solid rotational player. We got Amani, who I thought had a potential to start this year. Probably not now, though. Maybe in next year, in the years after. Desmond Trufant, Jeffrey Okudah. We're deep, right? We made an overhaul there. Justin Coleman. We tried to, overhaul that after being one of the worst defenses last year, especially in the past. And when you look at the Lions, Matt Patricia, who is a defensive coach, needs to have a good season defensively. Unless we didn't have that, and we really struggled against the pass and the run. And our offense was doing fine. It was just Matthew Stafford got hurt, and after that, everything went downhill. We're not going to try to talk about that too much because it was kind of a rough oof type of moment for the Detroit Lions. But we brought in Desmond Trufant. I think a lot of people are looking at Trufant saying this dude's washed up. He's old. He don't got it anymore. He don't got it. What are y'all talking about? That's what I say. I say go watch this dude. All right? He played in 9 games last season. Statistically, he had 4 interceptions. But aside from the 4 interceptions, didn't look so hot. Now, I'm going to compare him to a guy that I just talked about in Darius Slay. Okay, I'm going to compare him to Darius Slay statistically. Just, because some people like numbers, some people like, the eye test. We're going to do both. Let's talk about the numbers, all right? Desmond Trufant had 4 interceptions last season in only 9 games, which actually a career high in 9 games. He broke his forearm. He had surgery, I believe, on that. So, aside from the interceptions, though, his numbers weren't so great. He allowed 65% completion percentage, almost 66%, over 100 passer rating. It was like, wow, what's this guy doing? He's losing it. When you simply just look at his stats alone, you would say, okay, he ain't the same player he was. Okay, he's getting older. That's the problem, right? He's just not as good anymore. But you got to dig a little bit deeper than that. You got to dig a little bit deeper, Get that shovel out, dig a little bit deeper, okay? Think about this for a second, all right? 2018, he looked a lot better. A lot better in 2018. He didn't have an interception, but he only allowed 59% completion percentage and 87.6 passer rating. He looked a lot better just statistically, right? Okay, well, what is that? Is it just because he's getting older? Because 2017 was one of his best years. So he's just getting worse like Slay. He's just getting older. That's the problem. I don't think that's it. You could say that. I don't think that's it. All right, now we know Darius Slay didn't want to be here. So there's a couple of things that could, be attributed to the fact that he struggled last year. But I think if you simply look at numbers, you can kind of pick out what the problem was here. All right, the Lions in 2017 was his best season. 2017 was his best season. 2018, he had a really good year. People are like acting like he didn't have a good year in 2018 because, you kind of forget, and it's easy to forget. He was very good in 2018, Darius Slay was. One of the better cornerbacks in the league still. And why? Why was that? Why did he look so good in 18 but not in 19, right? Because Matt Patricia was still here. What was the difference? I'm going to tell you the difference. We got pressure. It's that simple. When you look at corners and secondary players, you got to get pressure. At the end of the day, if you're not getting pressure, you can make a good cornerback look average to not so good. And you can make a good cornerback look great if you get pressure. And Darius Slade went from a guy that in 2018 was on a team that finished 11th in getting sacks, finished top 10 overall, and had 43 team sacks, to in 2019, just throw aside the fact that he didn't want to be here, right? Throw that aside. In 2019, we finished 29th, tied for 29th in sacks, only getting 28, which is 15 less. That's what it is. And that's why his numbers dropped so much. Okay, what does this have to do with Desmond Trufant? Well, in 2017 was possibly one of his best years for a while. And in 2018, he looked pretty darn good. I just gave you the numbers. But in 2019, aside from the interceptions, he just struggled a little bit, right? He struggled. He's just getting older. But that's not the case, y'all. Sure, he's lost a little bit of the step here. But the problem is the same thing with the Falcons. In 2018, they got pressure. In 2019, tied with the Lions, 29th in the league, 28 sacks. It's that simple, y'all. You got to get to the quarterback. It's the secondary is relying upon getting to the quarterback. Jeffrey Okudah, everybody's hyped about it. I'm hyped. He's the best cornerback in the draft. I believe that wholeheartedly. But he makes a lot of big plays because of pressure, right? He's got Chase Young, David Hamilton. We got Ja'Shawn Cornell now. They had got some pressure on that D-line. And if you watch every single one of Jeffrey Okudah's 3 picks, they came when there was pressure, right? The quarterback's rolling out under bad pass. Slade comes back, makes an interception because there's pressure. It's always pressure, right? Big plays come from pressure. Cornerbacks, secondary, good secondary players make plays when their quarterback is making bad decisions, right? That's when they thrive. And that's what we saw from Jeffrey Okudah. That's what we saw from Slade. And that's what you see from Desmond Trufant if you go and watch him. When there is pressure, he looks good. It's not that he's getting older and he's just completely lost it. He's lost a little bit of his step. I'll give you that. When he presses, sometimes he gets beat a few times. But you got to get to the quarterback, man. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so wait. He has 4 interceptions, though. How is he getting these interceptions if they're not getting enough pressure? Watch the interceptions. I was watching the Eagles game, right? Full game here. Oh my gosh, long game. Anyways, full game. I think Carson Wentz actually got hurt at some point because the backup came in. Watch the full game. 2 of the interceptions, first half, right? 2 of the interceptions. Both times Carson Wentz is under serious pressure and he's making bad decisions, all right? One time he braces tackle and just throws it up, intercepted. Basically plays wide receiver out because once it's a bad pass and it's a bad decision, now it's wide receiver versus cornerback who's going to make the play. Cornerback wins because he's a good cornerback, right? Desmond Trufant's a good cornerback. Don't act like this guy has lost something completely. He's a good cornerback. Other interceptions, same thing, pressure. Plays are made when there is pressure. You got to get to the quarterback, and that's why I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. It's all about that. It's all about getting to the quarterback, and you can make guys look a lot better. So now, let's take away what I've seen, what I watched, okay? He takes on number 1 wide receiver. He takes on the challenge all the time, and that's something that's huge. And he may not even have to do that with the Lions, which is even bigger. What am I Englishing here? Which is even better because if he doesn't have to do it with the Lions, obviously he'll be going against a worse wide receiver. I think at some point Okudah may take that role over this season. May not start that way, may not, depending on how well he starts off. Maybe he just balls out and it's like, oh my gosh, this is our number 1 corner. What are we doing? Or maybe, he doesn't, and maybe it just takes some time. Maybe he switches. Whenever he takes on number 1 cornerback, so he's battle tested. He can do that if he has to. All right. Now I say he can press. He presses. And in short route situations, it's fine because we're running short routes. When they're running deep routes and he presses, sometimes he gets beat and he needs safety help, or sometimes he'll lose wide receiver because he instantly has to turn because he can't really keep up in the first couple of steps with some of those wide receivers. But again, he plays very similar to Darius Slade. That's what Darius Slade did too. It's not like Darius Slade pressed every time, right? Darius Slade gave cushion a couple of times, and he would do that in and out, would switch around. Thing with Desmond Trufant, he plays very similar. They play very similar styles. Sometimes they're up and pressing. Sometimes they're back giving 78 yards, 7 to 8, not 78, 7 to 8 yards to the wide receiver. And that's just kind of how they both play, and that's how all cornerbacks have played from what I can see. Good cornerbacks do that. They're able to do both. Now, Desmond Trufant at Atlanta, they played some zone. Lions don't do that very often, so maybe that's something that if we do throw in at times, he'll be more comfortable. But I think this is a great scheme fit. All right, he's very good at setting the edge. Tackle percentage, not great. Was not great last season, but he only played in 9 games. Missed tackle percentage definitely went up, so that's one major con I will say. Maybe that does have to do with something with him getting a little older, but you never know. I mean, there's so many variables that go into it. But he does play that position pretty well, and he plays it very similar to Darius Slade, so I can definitely see by watching him why they got it, because he looks like Slade out there with long hair. That's what he looks like. I can see why they went and got Desmond Trufant, because he's the guy that's going to hop right in. He's going to take no time to adjust to this defense. I see this guy fitting in right away, and I think he has lost a little bit of a step. I will say he's gotten a little bit older. Maybe he's not the same player he was in 2017 or 13 or 14, obviously. Maybe he doesn't run the same 4.3 at 40 he used to, all right? Maybe he doesn't have the same athletic ability, but let's not act like this dude is completely washed up. When he gets pressured, when the quarterback is under pressure, this dude's still out there making plays. this dude's still out there making plays. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This is a good signing for the Lions. This guy can ball out, but it really comes down to pressure. And if you're like, okay, well, how are we going to get pressure? We only brought in Julian Okwara. I made a video on why I think the Lions defense will be a lot better next season. And it's mainly about getting pressure because that's where it all starts, from the interior with this defensive scheme. And I think the Lions upgraded from Ashawn and Snacks in this offseason. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you have it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen that, but that's kind of my reasoning behind it. So yeah, if the Lions can get to the quarterback, this secondary is going to look real nasty. This secondary is going to look real nasty. Mr. Nasty, you know, like Stenberg does. Nope. Okay. Anyways, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.